We have Megan Anderson back on the show. She returns to action next Saturday at UFC Norfolk. She takes on the undefeated Norma Dumont. Megan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, and I have to say we have come a long way, you and I. The first time we did an interview together was over 4 years ago. It was right before your second Invicta fight, and then the last time we spoke, you were supposed to fight Helen Kolesnik for Invicta, and you were wondering if you were even going to get the opportunity to fight for the UFC, and then a few months later, you were signed. It's pretty crazy to see how this has all played out. Do you ever think back and like reminisce about this road that you made it? You're in the UFC, about to make your fifth appearance. Has it been kind of a whirlwind to get to this point?
Yeah, I definitely do think about it a lot. It has been pretty crazy, and the best is still yet to come.
I would agree with that, especially after your last fight against Zara Fair. I mean, you got to return to Australia, fight at home, and in my eyes, I think the Megan Anderson you've wanted to show people since signing with the UFC came out in full force in Australia. You looked as comfortable as I've ever seen you in there. Is that accurate? Do you feel like UFC 243 was your coming out party, so to speak?
Oh, 100%. I would say particularly like the last 6 to 8 months, I've gone through like so many changes in my life, and I'm finally at a place where I feel like my best performances are ready to come out.
What was that moment like for you, having that great of a performance, but doing it in Australia and doing it in front of that home crowd like that?
I feel like the type of performance was just kind of like the cherry on top. Like for me, it was more about fighting at home. It had been over 5 years since I had fought in Australia, and that was a bigger deal for me than anything.
Was that like a surreal moment for you to hear the crowd make that walk? Was it everything you expected it to be? Was it a little nerve-wracking walking back and fighting in Australia for the first time in 5 years?
No, it wasn't nerve-wracking. It felt like it was meant to be. I guess the only way I can kind of explain it, like it was meant to happen that way. And it was kind of like, it was really great for me because I was able to, all like the controversy and over some of my other fights, and like a lot of the ups and downs and the issues that I've had to get to this point, was kind of like, it culminated in that performance, and it kind of showed myself that I'm making the right decisions and the right changes and we're moving in the right direction.
And it was your first submission win since 2014. It was your third pro fight when you got a submission. How did it feel sort of capping off that performance and getting back to your submission style ways like that?
Oh, maybe she does know a little bit about jiu-jitsu. It definitely was kind of like a great to be able to come away with a win like that, considering a lot of the shit that I get. But man, like there's just so much that people don't see. The work that I do in the gym every day, and my potential that I train to, and there's just so much that people don't see and they don't get it. And I feel like I'm just at a point where like I'm ready to kind of to take risks and do some big things in my fights now.
And the next big thing is next Saturday, you're taking on Norma Dumont, who is a Brazilian fighter. She's making her UFC debut. She's undefeated. I'm sure the name didn't really matter all that much to you. You just wanted to get in there and continue this run that you're on, build off that performance. But did you know much about Norma when you got the name?
No, we didn't know much about her. Like, I think it was like UFC Lincoln last year. I was there as a guest fighter, and Mick, I was talking to him, and he had mentioned that he had a couple of names of fighters that he signed, and that was one of them. So like I knew the name, but I didn't know much about her. So, but like, yeah, like you said, the name didn't really matter for us. like we're willing to fight anyone and to put our head down and, you know, get to work.
And you just turned 30 years old. Your birthday is actually a day before mine. How does it feel to be the big 3-0? What I would give to be 30 again.
Well, happy belated birthday to you.
You as well.
Firstly. But I don't know. It's really funny because, like, when I turned 29, like, I flew back home and I surprised my parents for my 29th birthday, and I was dreading. Like, I was absolutely dreading 30. I was like, oh my God. Like, all of the milestones that I had expected of myself to have by the time I turned 30, I was nowhere even close to, like, happening. And then the Rochester fight happened. I was like, well, shit. Like, it's like career, like, what the fuck is going on with that? Like, I was dreading 30 so bad. But man, it's been crazy. Like, over the last, I would say, like, 3 to 6 months, I don't know. I just hit, like, a different kind of vibe, man. I just don't give a shit anymore. Like, I really don't. And I have this, you know, I have this great sense of, like, who I am and the type of person that I am and the positivity that I want to surround myself with. And I just really kind of felt like, you know, everything, all my patience and hard work and my dedication is going to pay off. Like, big things are still to come, and I'm ready for it when it happens.
It's a pretty freeing feeling when that happens for you, is it not?
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, I guess it's kind of been crazy, like you said earlier, you know, looking from when we first chatted to now, and, like, the whirlwind, like, the amount of shit that amount of shit talking and that people have given me and a lot of hate. Like, yeah, like, it used to get to me all the time. Man, I just laugh at that shit now. Like, if anything, I kind of feel sorry for those people. Like, you know, I'm just doing my thing. I'm getting mine, making sure I get paid, making sure I'm getting what I'm worth. And, like, I'm just doing me. And, like, I feel sorry for those people because there's not 1 second of my day that goes by that thinks negatively towards somebody else, or the idea of, like, going online and saying some shit. Like, it says more about them than me, and it really is so freeing to be able to get to that point. But it takes a lot to get there, that's for sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. It's sort of like a gangster-like mentality you have to have. And speaking of gangsters, James Krause is a gangster. I mean, good Lord. He steps in on a day's notice, had that incredible fight with Trevin Giles in Houston. What was your reaction to finding out the news that James was going to step in on a day's notice and the performance that he had?
Not surprised. Like, I really am not like and that's, like, one thing that's kind of, it's really been, like, amazing for me to see since, you know, over the years is I couldn't be happier, and, like, I couldn't be happier finally for people to start recognizing the value and I guess, like, the commitment that James has to the sport. And not just as a competitor, as a coach, as a businessman, as a family man. He has deserved this recognition for a long time. And he just put his head down and he trains hard. He doesn't stop training. He puts in the time. He is patient. He is consistent. And finally, his hard work is paying off. And it has been motivating for me to see that, because he is a true testament to, you know, hard work, dedication, persistence, consistency, and patience. And, you know, he's been in this game for 15 years. He's been in the UFC for the amount of time I've been training. He's been in the UFC for 7 years. Like, that's a long fucking time. And for him to finally now get what's his, man, it couldn't happen to anyone better.
What I thought was funny about the situation is when I talked to James after the fight, and I've talked to him so many times over the years, he was like, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Like, because when I was an amateur, that's how it was. I would show up to weigh-ins with a bag and be like, if any of these bums fall out, I'm in. Like, give me a fight. It doesn't matter. So he didn't think it was that big of a deal at all. And obviously it wasn't that surprising to you, was it?
Oh no, he talks shit every fucking day. like we see like we'll be scrolling through like Instagram or Twitter or whatever it is, and it'll come out, oh, so and so's, out. They're trying to find him an opponent. James is like, I'll fight him. I'll fight him. Like at least every day or every other day. Like he is he's a true OG of this sport, man. And like people have been sleeping on him, but motherfuckers can't sleep on him now.
I mean, this sport is crazy because it's such a game of evolution. It just moves so quickly and improving. And, most people would agree that we saw the best performance of your career at UFC 243. What are you hoping to show the world as a martial artist next Saturday night in Norfolk, Virginia? Like, how do you see this all going down?
Oh, the same way. There is not 1 second of a fight that my mentality isn't to finish the fight, and I think that's what makes me exciting. I think that's why even though there might not be a lot of women in our division, like that's why we stick around, like because we put on exciting fights. And I think next Saturday, like I get coming into the UFC wanting to make a statement, and I love that. I love the intensity, and I know the intensity that my opponents are going to be bringing, because I do have a name and I do have a following, and like I am one of the faces of this division. And I love that because I want them to bring the best version of them, because it's going to bring the best out of me. And I'm just excited to put my head down, throw some weather, and put on like an exciting performance. Like for sure I'm going to be looking for the finish.
I know we're not looking past next Saturday, but with the division being the way that it is and the changes that it's undergone with Chris Cyborg going to Bellator, Amanda Nunes is looking to defend that title next from everything that's been reported at this point. Do you feel like if you go out there next Saturday, have another great performance, that you're next, that you jump the queue, that you could be fighting for that belt next?
Yeah, sure. But to be like, I don't really give a shit. That's the thing is, like, if they want me to fight for the title, if I get a win, like, sure, cool. If they don't, I'm still going to get paid regardless. Like, it's going to happen. And if that means after one more win or after two more wins, after three more wins, I don't fucking care. Like, it's going to happen, and it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. And, I'm just focused on February 29th and really just showcasing why I am the face of the division and why we put on great performances, and we should, put more into this division.
Yeah, you've been super busy doing a lot of different things. Like I know you do your podcast and your breakdowns. You were doing it with Laura Sanko for a while. The last few, I'm pretty sure you've been on your own doing them. But how do you enjoy sort of being in the host chair and breaking down fights and analyzing different things in the fight game like you've been doing?
Oh, I love it. Like it's also like it pushes me out of my comfort zone. Like as an active competitor, like it always makes me really nervous. Just because I'm like, oh, like my peers can see this, like, just kind of, like, I can't, like, it makes me a little nervous, just because, like, I don't want to offend anyone, and, like, I don't want anyone to think I don't like them or anything like that. But, like, when I do that stuff, it's never personal, and I just try to sit back. And, I'll say the same shit about me. Like, if I was to break down my own fight, I can tell you, if you watch my footage on my fight, there's certain ways to win. But doesn't mean that they're going to win. But if there's tendencies. It's, people have strengths and weaknesses. Everyone does. Like, to be unrealistic and to not think that there isn't a part of your game that can be exposed, and you're lying to yourself. That's how we get better, is by identifying those weaknesses and then working on them. But no, it's been amazing, and I can't thank someone like Shannon Knapp enough for giving me these opportunities to help me grow outside the cage and on the other side of the mic. It's something that I've been interested in doing for a long time, and I'm realistic. I can't fight forever. I want to set myself up for when that time comes.
Are you going to be a part of the Invicta broadcast in a couple of weeks' time?
Yeah, I'll be making my color commentating debut.
Oh, look at you. And they're going to be introducing the open scoring. How excited are you to be a part of like an event like that, especially after James kind of got hosed on the decision? We're trying to evolve the scoring in MMA, and it's going to start with this next Invicta event.
Yeah, so I don't think it will be. So for the Phoenix series, because it's a tournament style, for those fights, it won't really be a factor because they're 1-round fights. But there's a couple of 3-round fights, and the main event, I believe, is a title fight for the 135-pound belts. They're crowning a new champion, so it will definitely be in effect for those fights. And I look at it like I kind of have looked at. I've looked at a lot of the comments online and talk to fighters about it and what they think. And I think as a competitor, I would want to know, like going into those like championship rounds or going into that third round, if it's a 3-round fight, like I would want to know, like if I'm down on the score and I need to come out with a Hail Mary, I want to know, because I'm going to be slinging leather for 5 fucking minutes so I can get that knockout or I can get whatever the fuck I need to win. Like, as a competitor, I would know that. But I can also understand, other point of view of being like, okay, well, like, if you felt like you've been winning for 2 rounds and then you find out you're down, like, I can kind of understand the mentality of like, oh, well, like, what can I do to win? And then you, like, I get you kind of run the risk of people kind of running away because they're kind of like, oh, well, I'm up 2 rounds. Like, I don't want to lose. But then again, like every fight, which most coaches, when you go into the rounds and it's a super close round, like they're so, I know James is very open in the fact he's like, we lost that round. I'll be like, oh, that round's pretty close. And if anything, he's going to judge it harsher for us. Like, even like if it isn't, if it's a super close round, he's just going to give it to them. So we're realistic. If we got to put out more work, if we got to do this, we're going to do that. Like, he's super realistic like that. And I feel like most coaches kind of have like a sense, and then they kind of express that to their fighters anyway. We're just getting definitive answers. And when you think about it, there's no other really high competitive sport, that like you don't know the score of the fight, like or score of the game or whatever the fuck it is, while it's happening. Can you imagine like having a basketball game and like not actually knowing the score until it's over?
Oh, especially in basketball, that'd be crazy.
Like, that would be weird as shit. Like, and combat sports is really like the only, well, and the thing is that they're not going to revolutionize the rules. Like, let's be real. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, they're not going to change the rules. Like, every state is different. So this is the next best thing to kind of at least give fighters some sort of knowledge and responsibility to, it's on them now. Like, okay, like we can't get to, because the same thing happened with the last Invicta, the title fight between Ashley Cummins and Jinh Fry was super close, and a lot of people thought that Ashley Cummins won, and it ended up being I think it was a split decision for Jinh Fry. And the same thing happened for that card. Like, if I was Ashley Cummins going into that 4th and 5th round, I would want to know. Like, if I'm thinking I'm up on the scorecards and I keep doing the same thing, but I'm not, and I didn't know that I wasn't up, like, why would you change your game plan if you think you're winning? But if you know, okay, this isn't working, the judges have got it, 2-1 going into this 4th round for somebody else, like, yeah, we're going to have to fucking change things up because we need to, start, pushing. We need to start doing X, Y, and Z to be able to get that win. Like, I don't know. It puts more eggs in the basket for the fighters and to be able to make quicker adjustments between rounds. I don't know. We'll see. I think it's exciting.
I think it's exciting too.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for experimentation and making the judging better in the sport. Like, I don't think it's the answer, but I think it's something. At least we're trying something different, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, then if any, I don't know. I just think it is such an unrealistic expectation if you think that they're ever going to change the rules, because they're not. Like, it's, for example, we have different rule sets for different states. There is no one governing body. And I think that's what actually Australia does a really good job of, is it is not state by state. There is one governing body that is the entire of Australia. So the rules are the same every single state that you can fight in. And it's great because it's consistency. But if you don't have that, like you go to Illinois and two hands flat is a downed opponent. But in Missouri, it's only one hand. And then this place, a fingertip can be a downed opponent. Like, every state is different, and it makes it so hard that, it's unrealistic to expect that the rules are going to change when everybody is different. So this is a step, I feel, in the right direction. And what's the harm in trying? Like, you've got to test it somehow.
Yeah, I completely agree. And, at least the more you do it, we can use the stuff that's working and eliminate the stuff that's not working. So it's progress anyways. We're trying something new, and I'm down for that. Did I see that in April you're going to be doing some tattoo judging and playing Mario Kart? I mean, I don't think there's a better gig on earth if you're Megan Anderson than what you're going to be doing in April. What's going on with that?
I'm going to South Carolina. I'm so glad I checked that. Columbia, South Carolina. There is a video game tattoo convention from April 24th to 26th, which I'm super excited about. There is a tattoo contest, which I'm going to be judging, which I'm super excited about, which is kind of crazy to think. Like, my mom was actually just saying to me the other day, she was like, who'd have thought you would, like, one day be judging tattoo contests? I'm like, right? Like, I just never, like, it's just kind of crazy to me. And I got really excited because I love video games. Like, I'm pretty sure most people know that. So it's kind of cool that I get to kind of do, the video games and tattoos at the same time.
That's good stuff. You could check out Megan's Instagram and get more information on that. Last thing for me, and I really appreciate you giving me so much time here. You made a lot of headlines when you were on Ariel Helwani's show. You open up quite a bit about your mental health and like a lot of hurdles and adversity you've gone through in your life. And we don't have to like get into all that, because I think people should go back and watch that interview anyways, because it's amazing. But I'm sure it was quite therapeutic and also a little nerve-wracking getting that off your chest. But you opened up about a very important topic. So I guess my question is, how has the response been? And have you had a lot of people reach out to you since that interview?
I have had a lot of people reach out. And yeah, it was so nerve-wracking. I definitely was not expecting it to go like that deep. And there's a lot of shit that I kind of have never, ever told anyone, like even my therapist. So it was like the first time like ever saying it in public. So it was super scary and nerve-wracking, and if anything, I was kind of nervous about my family kind of and what they kind of thought, because like I do have a really great relationship now with my parents and my family, and I didn't want them to think that I was kind of airing our business to the world. And so that's why I kind of tried to do it in a way that was also respectful to our family and our privacy as well. But, I think it's an important topic to discuss. I think it's not discussed enough. And the response has been overwhelmingly positive, and it makes me so happy that there has been so much positive response, and that I am able to use my platform to raise awareness for such a delicate issue or a topic, or, whatever you kind of want to call it. And I hope that by telling my story and by consistently telling my story as much and raising as much awareness as I can, that if I can just help one person, then my job is done. I think there is a lot of people struggling, and there is a lot of people silently struggling. And I think people that have never dealt with, anxiety or depression or any of those mental health issues, if you haven't dealt with it, you can't fully comprehend it. So a lot of people don't know how to respond when somebody does try to talk to you about it, or they're going through something they want to talk to you about it. I don't think a lot of people know how to respond, and I think we need to start educating people on that as well. Because if you as someone with, say, anxiety tries to open up with somebody about their issues, and they're like, well, just don't feel that. That's counterintuitive. It's very counterproductive. And then you kind of create a adverse effect that, as someone with anxiety, if you try to open up to somebody and they kind of shut you down and they're like, oh no, you're fine. You shouldn't stress about that. They're not going to want to open up to anyone again. So they're just going to escalate the situation. I don't know. I just hope I can raise as much awareness as possible and show people that it is you have the ability to dictate what your life looks like, and you have the ability to, I guess, not let it control you, and not let it control what happens to you. It's not something that just goes away. I still deal with it every day. I have a very high functioning anxiety, and I go through long periods of time where I can't sleep because my brain just won't shut off, because I have all these things that I'm kind of stressing about, or whatever it is. And, and then I have to try and, get up and train and perform, and, it's tough, and it's never going to be easy, but it never goes away, but you just learn to manage it. And, I think raising more awareness is going to help, not just as myself, having a place to kind of be free, I guess, and show some vulnerability and, some strength in that, but show other people. And I think that's the most important part, is showing other people.
Well said, Megan. I appreciate the time very much. Look forward to seeing you back in the octagon next Saturday against Norma Dumont at UFC Norfolk. Before we let you go, let the folks know where they can find and follow you on the web. I saw you got a new Fight Camp series on your YouTube page. Let people know where to find that, social media, all that good stuff. The floor is yours. Yeah,
I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'm on TikTok now, as Kevin Hart said. So just Megan A_MMA. I have my YouTube channel, The Megan Anderson Show. I'm putting up some blogs of Fight Camp and Fight Week. So make sure you go and subscribe, because we're going to be bringing you some behind the scenes stuff, which is kind of cool, a little bit different. And I have an amazing team that have been helping me with that. But yeah, Megan A_MMA, The Megan Anderson Show on YouTube. That's about it.
All right. Thank you, Megan. All the best to you next weekend. Looking forward to it.
No problem. Thank you so much.